everyone. My name is Patra. I am the owner of Hello Mahood blog, and I am here collaborating with.
Hi everyone, I'm Carol Moon and I have a YouTube channel named Carol's Daily Heart.
And we are so excited to collaborate today. We have worked hard on coming together and, coming up with a topic that we know that can reach everyone and that we know that everyone can attest to and relate to. So today we are coming together to talk about, does past traumas affect relationships? We think that that is very, very, very important because a lot of people experience those things and they aren't aware. So we just want to come and go over some information on why we think that that's important and to help each other out and help out our viewers to see, how we can get past those hurdles and triggers and things. So, yeah. So, Carol, with you being married for a number of years, I know marriage is sacred. I know marriage takes time, and throughout marriage, I'm not married, but I am aware that, you go through things and, you have up and downs, and it's all about having a partnership. Right. So I would say, within your experience, why do you think past traumas interfere with relationships?
Okay, so I think it interferes with relationships simply because you suppress a lot of those feelings. You don't deal with the anger. You don't deal with the way you're feeling. Sometimes you just lash out. You're angry, and you just don't want to deal with it. And you're not realizing by you suppressing those feelings that you are hurting yourself. And the saying, hurt people hurt people. So without you dealing with what's going on with yourself, you're lashing out at your spouse or even at your children. And so those those traumas also affect your children. So a lot of people suppress. And I think that sometimes we have to deal with those traumas head on so we can be a better version of ourselves for our spouse as well as our children.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think that that's a good way to put it, especially with you saying that not only does it, affect your spouse, it affects your children and the other relationships that are around you as well, because it does cause triggers. Like, it does cause triggers. And I think the biggest thing I think about that is we aren't aware of those things. Like,
no.
Yes, we're just not aware when it happens. I know for me, there have been things that I've been like, whoa, like I'm doing that. Like, I can't, not thinking that I'm the only one seeing that way, because I've been through something, but my partner or my sisters or my family or my kid, they haven't experienced what I've experienced maybe in that aspect. So it does start to affect the relationship when the other person, they're not seeing it from your perspective.
That is so true. And then when they call you out on it, you be like, I know you ain't talking about it. Or you don't even want to hear it. Like, y'all lying on me. But it took me a minute to realize, okay, the things that you went through as a child is affecting you in your adulthood. And I just really, I'm 42. So at the age of maybe like 41, I just started to want to better myself because I got tired of being depressed. I got tired of having anxiety. I got tired of just being angry about little small things. And so it's just like, okay, Carol, you got to get yourself together. I always want to help people and encourage people, but I don't give myself that same encouragement. So I just want to work on myself, but baby, them traumas, honey, the traumas,
yes.
Those triggers and hollering at you. And I have to put my kids in here too, because your kids see things that other people don't see. And those and your kids suffer right along with you because you're raising your kids. So I wanted to better myself, even though two of them are grown and then the other two are teenagers. I still want to be a better version for them because they still need me, regardless if they're grown, if they're little, whatever, they still need me. And I want to be a better version for myself as well as for them and for my husband. Yep.
That's true because it does pass down too. Like I've, with
Yes.
what you said, and you have grandchildren, and
Yep.
so if you mimic those behaviors for in front of your children, they pass that down to your
Yep.
grandchildren. It's just a cycle, and that's
Yeah.
why it's important to be aware and acknowledge it and face it because you don't want your family affected basically from your past and
Right.
your past trauma. So I do
Right.
think that's important. And I'm so glad you spoke on that because that, is, I'm soft on that because I have had, hurt and pain. And I do feel like some of my anxiety, the way I react to things, I have gotten better at it. But like a while ago, like Aiden, I would see him reacting the way I react to things. Like he was at one
Yes.
point, he was
Yes.
so young that he didn't catch on. But when he started to like,
Mm-hmm.
his personality started to grow, he would get frustrated quickly. Like he would get
Mm-hmm.
angry, like he'll react like me if I'm doing this. He'll
Yep.
start to lash out. And so
Yep.
I think that is important too, that we fix ourselves for them too.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
they do have to, go to school, they do have to be around other people, and they
Yeah.
do have to pass that on.
Yeah.
I do think that the reason it's important to face it is necessarily for your children's, necessarily for your spouse. But you touched on something and you said for yourself. Like you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to feel like angry. You don't want to feel hurt, and you don't want to feel angry at those, the people who cause that trauma or who you experience those
Yes.
things with because you're not. I found myself not really truly forgiving. Like it's easy to say you forgive people for things.
Yes.
Yes, it's
Yes.
easy to say that, but when you start getting in situations, you're
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm still reacting a certain way around you. Like, have I truly
Yes.
forgave you for what you've done? Because you still have to have some of those people are your mom, your dad,
Mm-hmm.
some are baby fathers, your sisters, your
Yes.
brothers. So these things happen with people that still you have to face on a a day-to-day basis. So I think it is important, to forgive and want it for yourself, not necessarily
Yeah.
just to
Forgive.
say
Yes. For
just to say it.
you. Yeah. Forgiveness is for you.
Mhm.
It's not for the other person because you holding on to all of that, what they did to you, and you're just going through life just angry, mad, bitter, and they done moved on with their life, and you mad because they done moved on with their life, and you're mad at them because they're not sad because of what they did to you. Like you have to forgive and start working on yourself. You have to let those things go. For real, for real.
Mhm. Yeah,
Because
I agree.
yeah, and then too, you have to let me speak on baby fathers. You have
Mhm.
to let those things go because your kids are watching, and you don't need to talk down on their dad and all of that. I know a lot of us do just out of anger, but your kids are watching, and
Mhm.
you just don't want to bring how you feel on your kid. You know what I'm saying? So you just have to watch how you react around your kid again because
Yes.
pick up on those things.
Yes.
So yeah. And like you said, you say you forgive, but when you see them, you feel some type of way. You get mad or whatever. And I experienced that for many of years. And it just like at one point I was like, okay, Carol, you haven't, and I'm open books. I'm just gonna be honest. But like with my older two kids' father, like I didn't forgive him, but me and who he's with now, which is your lovely sister, I forgave her, and me and her are like the best of friends. Like that's my girl, and I know that's rare too, but I love that girl. She's like my sister, and but I was still holding something towards him, and I know that might be backwards, but I had to let go of some things. And once I just let go of everything, all of us are cool. Now, we don't talk like, because our kids are grown, but me and Candy, that's my girl. That's my
Yeah.
girl. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and when your kids see that and your kids see the growth, then they'll follow suit. Well, we ain't gonna hold, because everybody's not gonna be with who they have kids by. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to be an example for my kids. Hopefully they have good,
I,
healthy relationships. But I be an example for my kids and be the bigger
yeah.
person, and not just hating people and talking down on people and holding all that. It's not good for you. Okay.
It's
I know I'm
not,
just
but no, for real, I commend you and Cammy on that because I think that's a perfect example that young women need to follow because
yeah.
although what happens is we go and I'm not saying that our children are mistakes, but we do
Right,
things
right.
out of order, of God, and we end up in situations
Yes,
like that, in situations like that, my
yes,
situation.
yes.
And so it's important to grow from that. And you and Cammy are a perfect example of how it
Mhm.
does not have to drama does not have to linger on. It's
No,
amazing how y'all became friends, y'all became close, and your children do see that and they see that it's okay. And God forbid they're ever in that situation. But if they are, they will know
right,
how to handle it a lot more. They'll see it like, no, my
right,
mom and my stepmom or my mom and my brothers and sister mom, they're cool. Like they know
right,
that it can happen. So,
right,
it's easier for
right.
them to navigate through those situations if they have perfect examples of how to get through things like that. Because like you
That's right.
said, I spent a lot of time with just going on my baby father. I spent a lot of time, putting my energy into, like you said, not forgiving, but seeing him move on with his life, like stalking
Mhm.
Instagram, stalking Facebook,
Mhm.
stalking girls he talked to, just trying
Yeah.
to see what's going on, what's happening. And years ago I found myself saying, like, I don't have this energy. It's that type of energy I need to put somewhere else. And that's the biggest that's one of the major things that you can use to get over those traumas is finding something that benefits you, doing it for you and finding something that benefits you. If it's reading, if it's writing, if it's starting a YouTube, if it's starting a
Yes,
blog,
yes,
if it's going to church, if it's, swimming, traveling, whatever it is that in your heart that makes you feel good, just take yourself to that place when you feel
yes,
yourself, rescinding or reverting back to those past traumas. Just take yourself and put your energy into something good so that it's
yes.
not put into that other person, because 9 times out of 10 a lot of the people who hurt you in the past, they have moved on with their lives. And hurt people, like you said, hurt people, and a lot of times hurt people,
Yes.
they're built on survival. Like they can get over it, but we're built on
Yep.
love. So it takes us a
Yes,
minute
yes,
to get
yes.
past things because we want to know why. We still love you. We just wanted you to get it right. And
Right,
so,
right.
yeah, so I think it's important to find what fits you to get you past those situations. And it does take time. Like it
Yeah.
really does take
I
time.
just, it's levels to it. It's not, you're just not gonna just jump into, okay, I'm fine. It's levels to it. You're gonna feel defeated. You're gonna feel like you failed. You're gonna just wonder like why it couldn't work, but it's levels to it. And when you realize that you're giving too much energy, and it's negative energy, and you're down, you're depressed, it's time for you to go to the next level and figure out, okay, why am I feeling like this? Why am I giving all this my energy? Why am I, making myself depressed? Or you just have to figure out, why are you doing these things? And then try to find you some coping skills, like you said, some positive things to do to get your mind and, off of what's hurting you, and, the triggers that you're experiencing, all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have to ask this. I would say, in your in your current relationship, in your marriage,
Mhm.
like how do you when you are triggered, how do
Mhm.
you turn that around? Like how is it that, if you're aware of it, if you notice it, how do you make a turn in that? Like, is it something that you are aware of? Is it like something your husband, calls you out on? Or how do you know, you handle that?
Well, now it's a feeling that I feel, and I know that, okay, I'm getting this feeling, so this is and I know when I get that feeling, the next thing is going to be like lashing out. So what I try to do is really just be quiet and go to myself, and kind of what I really do is I go pray. And I pray, and then I talk to myself, okay, Carol, no, we're not finna give this energy off. We're not finna let you be defeated of, how you normally act or how you used to act. Like we're different than this. Come on, Carol, get yourself together. I have to do that because I'm more, at first I was quick to react. And now I try to calm myself down and get to myself, like I said, and pray and talk to myself so I can not make the situation worse. So that's kind of how I deal with it. Because at first, child, I was hollering and lashing out and just angry, and it's just like I don't want to be that person. So I try to handle it in a different way. So sometimes people won't let you though. Sometimes they keep poking you, but I try to do those things so I can calm myself down. Yeah.
I agree. I think that's really good. I think I went to church a few Sundays ago. I haven't been going to church as often during the pandemic. I've been watching it on live. But Pastor Calhoun, when he was preaching, he went over this story basically about his children always wanted to watch The Beauty and the Beast. And he said that, he was falling asleep on it. And then they finally said, we're going to watch it again and you better stay up. So he said that they decided to watch it. And he said he had watched the movie a million times, but something about that time, it stood out to him. And he said what he got from it was, there was this beast that was, just ugly, mean, rude. And this is what I think of. Sometimes I think of myself like that as the beast when I was doing that lashing out, like, being ugly, being mean, being rude. And, then it was Beauty. And it was something about Beauty that, even though the beast was just so hardcore, it was something about Beauty, something about her that allowed him to soften up, like allowed him to, not be so rude or not to lash out or to, just to be a little bit more softer. And I think about that. And I feel like God placed certain people in your life so you can, to be your beauty, to allow you to, shed those things off and make you aware. I know my boyfriend now, I feel like I'm the beast and he's like Beauty, because there are situations and things that he's older than me. He's 36, but there are things that I've been through or things that I've experienced that he's like, it ain't no way you as a woman should have dealt with it, or it ain't no, he just, he don't understand. So he starts to react with love. Like, well, if he triggers me, like, what can I do? Like, why, what happened? Like, why, what can we do about it? What can I do better? And he started to learn my triggers, and, we worked together. He gave me that grace and that reassurance, like, it's going to be okay. Instead of, meeting where I was at, he would calm me down. And when somebody is like that around you, when you have that beauty that's trying to help you, they don't have to help you, but they're trying out of love. I think you seamlessly just start to grow, and you start to realize, like you said, I get that feeling, that urge, like it's an urge of, I can punch a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
But I've grown so much where, like you said, I don't get that feeling. But if I feel it, trucking up, I'd be like, okay, calm down, think. Because when you're dealing with someone who's very calm, it's like, you ain't got to do all that. You don't have to do that no more. You're in a different space. So I think it's important, if you're dealing with that, to not be around people who know your triggers and try to meet you where they are and try to, mess with you, and they know the trigger. So they poke at you. Like you mentioned, they poke to take you there. And make sure you surround yourself around people who are like Beauty, who's going to love you, and they understand your triggers, and they're, aware of what's going on, and they'll be able to help you. And a lot of times, you can skip over some of those episodes when you have a person like that, or if you have people like that. So I just wanted to touch on this important, to surround yourself around people that are aware of it. And a lot of times, I know I'm a very private person, so a lot of times people don't know a lot. So it took me a minute to give that information so my partner can understand what's going on, or so my family can understand. But you don't want your everybody to know certain things,
That
if
is so true.
yes,
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 yes.
you don't want them to.
Right, because me and Jeremy been married for 12 years, going on 13 in February. And me and him just had a conversation yesterday about one traumatic incident that happened to me when I was like maybe 6 or 7 with a babysitter. And it felt good because I've suppressed that. I told him I've never really just expressed that to anybody. And it felt good to tell him or whatever. And it's just like, he was just like, man, I just feel so sorry for you. I just want to, I just want to love you through everything. Because let me speak on those things that happened to me as a kid. It really, it has me like not receiving love. I was always that person that chased people, and people are mean to me, but why are they mean to me? I want to be there. Like, why they don't like me? And the people that really truly love me, it's just like I push them away. And I know for a fact God gave me Jeremy. It's like he loved me through everything, because we had been through a lot. And he loves me through every single thing that I've been through. And those triggers that I have, like he wants to understand, like, okay, why you act like this? Or why are you trying to push me away? I just want to love you. And I'm private, so I don't tell people everything. We have a good marriage, but we're human and we still deal with things. You know what I'm saying? So I had a point of telling you that, but I just, because listening to you speak about your, who you're with, that just sound like Jeremy. They just want to love us through the pain that we have experienced or whatever. And again, I'm very, very private. And just for me to even tell him that, because it's kind of embarrassing a little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of embarrassing. And, a lot of people, when you go through things, people tell you, get over it. Won't you just get over it? And some things, you have flashbacks, you have, triggers again, you have triggers and things that just make you remember what you went through. And it's not easy to get over it. It's not easy. I've had somebody tell me that I just need to get over some things that happened to me. You get over it. Why don't you just go to a therapist? You need to talk to somebody. Like, it was just, that was real mean. But yeah, it's
That
not
is,
easy.
yeah,
It's easy. It's just not easy dealing with being sexually abused. I just say, just being sexually abused. And that shaped me to be the person that I was as a kid, as a young adult. I took on a lot of things. I let people walk all over me just because I just wanted to be loved. I didn't care who I got it from. I just wanted to be loved, and they used me, and they seen that weakness in me. And it was just like, I'm just going to treat her however. And, and then it's just to have somebody that truly love you. I don't know what that feel like. You know what I'm saying? So I'm learning to let that wall down. Yeah. And I know people been like, y'all probably be like, y'all been married for forever, but still, I still had a wall up, and I'm slowly letting it down, because that allowed me to view sex in a horrible way. You know what I'm saying? So it's a mental thing, and you have to change how you think. And so I'm working on it. Yeah. I know probably.
that's really big of you to,
Yeah.
express that to him. I don't think that's easy. And I think
No.
you said a lot there when you said people say, hey, you just get over it. It's not something, trauma is trauma.
No.
Like, you have to look
Yeah.
the definition of it's trauma.
Yes.
Like, it
Yes.
doesn't ever go away.
No.
What gets better is the way,
You,
the way you see it, the way you
yeah.
handle
Yeah.
it. But you are going to have to give yourself grace, especially with what you've been through. And I have to say, when I grew up in a decent environment,
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a home with my mom, my dad. So people will say, you should know how love should be. And I feel like at one point,
Yes.
they think, and at one point, I feel like I was selfish. I was that person thinking like, people just know, like, get over it, or whatever. But as I start to get shaped, having a child with Down
Mm-hmm.
syndrome at 22 at a young age, not being able to finish
Mm-hmm.
school, those things. As I started to get experience my trauma, as an adult in my 20s,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, I started to realize that this stuff live with you. Like it
Yeah.
goes on with you. That's why it's
Yeah.
important to try, like you said, protect your children from those things
Mm-hmm.
as much as you can. Things will happen, but
Right.
I think that it's important to let people live and give yourself grace and give people grace when they're going through things. I don't care if it happened 30, 40 years ago. It happened,
Right.
and it's going
Right.
to affect me even when
Right.
as a mom, as a wife, for years. As much
Yeah.
as it's the way I allow it to affect me, but it's
Right.
just not going to go away. So I think that was big of you to open up to him, because I think what I was trying to say is, I think for me, the older I got, once I started to go through, trauma, like I started to realize, like, no, this is real. Like, it is real.
Yes.
I moved down
Yeah.
here and started in Little Rock and started to experience my trauma. I've experienced, sexual assault. Like, I've experienced those things. People don't know that. And I've experienced that things as an adult. So it's like, you have to be able to give yourself grace. You have to give people grace when they go through things. And like I'm saying that from a side of, I've been the person like, just get over it. This person just like, y'all, like, get over it. And being the person now that, like, man, I am on the other side. I am the victim, so I know how that feels. You can't just tell somebody
Yes.
to know, get past something or get over it. But I commend you for sharing that. That was
Thank
huge.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I know it's a lot of people that deal with sexual abuse, whether it's now, whether it's in their teens, whether it's as a kid, and a lot of people don't tell their story. A lot of people suppress it, and you wonder why they're so mean, or why why they're to themselves, or why they always looking down. And people, me telling my story may help someone, and I'm telling you, when you begin to speak and talk about it, it lifts some stuff off of you. Because I don't even think I ever really ever told anyone. And when I started just talking about it, it's like, okay, I feel better, because I've been holding that secret for forever. And my mom will always wonder, like, what's wrong with you? Like, what happened? Like, why are you, lashing out? Why do you act like this? Like, what's wrong with you? And I always say, you just don't know what happened to me. Well, what happened? Because my mom, it's not like she would just be like, shh, don't tell nobody. My mom's gonna come for you. She don't play about me. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have that type of mother that I couldn't tell her. I just didn't. I just didn't. Now, something else, it started when I was like 2 or 3. And I can remember like it was yesterday. And my mama said I was 2. And I was like, how was I 2 telling you what happened? But she said I was 2. But I can remember what happened. And she was ready to kill them. So, it's not like I had a mother that I just had to not tell, just hide it. But I don't know. I don't know why people, I know a lot of people hide it because people don't believe them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that it's that portion of it, and it's embarrassment. It's
It
thinking
is.
people will reject you, like
Yeah.
thinking that you may have done something wrong. It's a
Yeah.
lot that goes along with it. I know for me, it wasn't what I used to think it was. It was more so it wasn't that serious, because we had sexual relations prior
Mm-hmm.
too. But and then I felt like, afterwards, he apologized to me, and it didn't, I felt like, well, I don't have to tell nobody. It really didn't happen because it didn't go all the way. Like, I got out and stuff like that. And I think that's the thing. Just thinking like it's not that serious, like you said, just finding ways to suppress it, finding ways to,
Yeah. Yeah.
make it like, hey, it's gonna go away and stuff. And I started to realize, like, I don't like being touched a certain way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Yeah.
like it'll be, with my partner, like, touch me like that. It's like it's certain triggers, and as many times that I didn't realize it in my previous relationships, why I didn't want to be touched a certain way. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like,
Yep.
I would never understand it. And, I get the kicking and get the moving, like, don't, and it's not touching. Not saying anything just like sexual, but touching anything past, my waist, like touching me a
Yeah.
certain way, any type of
Yep.
way you touch me from behind or you touch me way, it triggers you. So it's important to come out and try your best to find somebody that you can trust and
Mm-hmm.
you can open up to. That it's not gonna always help. It's not gonna
Right.
help, but it will for a moment. It feels good to know that someone else knows and someone
Sure.
else understand, because I
Yeah.
can't imagine, going through that at the age of 2 or the age of 6, and what you had to go through. And then, like you said, that's what, 40 years ago, and it still affects you. So it is important to find somebody that you can talk to, and don't think like, and I'm not speaking of you, I'm speaking of anyone who may experience it, but
Mhm.
don't think that it's, something's wrong with okay, hold on, Aiden. Don't think that it's something wrong with oh, it may not be that serious, or oh, it may
Yeah.
not, people won't believe me, and those types of things. It is serious because it happens to you. It may not be the same thing that may not have
Right.
experienced it at a young age like you, Carol, but it happened to me. And I think that's where a lot of us go wrong, and thinking
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
what can you do now? It's this many years
Right.
ago, get over it. Like, no, it's not
And
something you just don't get over.
it's not that easy. And it's like you said, it's certain things I don't like for Jeremy to, so like I'm sitting on the couch and he comes over me and kisses me, it does something. And I kind of jump, but it's just, but he knows, and he doesn't do it on purpose. It's just, he like loving on me, but it's just still kind of, but I'm trying to work on it because I don't want him to suffer because of what I've been through. So, but he still understands and he's still caring and loving. He doesn't. You need to get now. He never said I need to get over it. He's never said that. But I'm just thankful for him. Period. This period.
I have a question. Now that
Okay.
you said that, I know, we're going deep, but how did that make you feel, like with having children? Like having a daughter, having a son. Like how when they were kids, like how
Ooh.
did that make you feel? How did that change or affect, impact you as a mother with having to experience that?
Well, first of all, I've always parent by what I've been through. Like I've always, I don't want my kids to experience this. I don't want so I've always been that type of parent. Like, don't talk to my kids like this because you don't know how this is going to make them feel when they get older. I've always done that. But I'm so thankful that I didn't have to have babysitters. My mom was always there because I don't know if I could deal with someone watching my kids and I'm not knowing what's going on. And it just, well, okay, let me give you an example. Okay, so like Jeremy came along when my youngest daughter was 1. So she just turned 1. And he's not knowing what he's coming into. So he not like, when I say coming into, like he not knowing what I've experienced. And he want to change her pamper. And it's like, no, don't change her pamper. I got it. Don't, or, well, come on, let me help you watch, get the kids a bath. And my next to youngest was 3. And I'm like, no, I got it. You ain't gotta, so it just, somebody, but that what you went through, you just don't want it to happen to your kids. And I kept telling myself, well, I know my husband, he's not going to hurt my kids, but I just couldn't let him do those things because I don't know, it's just a trigger for me. So, so I do another incident. Me and Jeremy had went to like Memphis and stayed the night, and DeMarcus, which is my oldest son, which you know this, I always would tell him, do not have company, because I just did not want, not saying that his friends were doing anything to Amari, but I just didn't want anything, which is my youngest. I just didn't want anything to happen to her. So those things will always come up. I just never wanted certain people around, or it even made me uncomfortable with men. Like, I couldn't be like in a room with a man. Like if somebody's visiting Germany, he go to the back or whatever, I'm following him. I don't know. I just, yeah. It made parenting a little harder because you always parent off of what has happened to you, and you don't want that to happen to your kids. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That
Yeah.
I think that's important. I wonder how that, how that affect you. I know what you saying, hey, I'll be, you were able to take them to your mom, and you were able to feel
Yeah.
comfortable. But I wonder how that impacts that, because sometimes kids don't understand. Like when they're young,
No.
they're like, why can't we go here? Why can't we do this? Why can't
Yeah.
we do that? And then, but you never know. That's why it's important. I always say it's important, which I've learned this at an adult age, but it's important to really listen to your parents, because it may take you years
Yeah.
until you realize
Yeah.
what they went through. Like, it's certain things that I realized as an adult that my parents went through, or that I can understand why they told me certain things
Mm-hmm.
now that I'm older that I didn't
Mm-hmm.
understand as a kid. So um that was another point. Your parents go through things that you don't know that they even went through. They may not even share to you, but it's their job to protect you and
Yeah.
make sure it doesn't happen to you. So sometimes it may not go your way. That's why it's important to be obedient and listen, because you never know what they're
Yeah.
trying to protect you from. You never know what they've been through and what they've seen. We try our best to make sure our kids don't see that side, and so they don't have to grow
Yeah.
up sooner. They don't have to
Yeah.
experience those things. So
Yeah.
sometimes they're green to that until they become adults and start seeing it happen to everybody. And then like I said, it took me to become an adult to have trauma. Like, for things to
Yeah.
start happening to me, it took me time. So it
Mhm.
happened. So I think that
Right. Right.
that's truly important if you have kids, or if you are a child, to give your
Yeah.
parents grace in situations, just because you don't know what they've been through and what they've
Right.
seen. So
And you even be on high alert even with your grandkids. Whether it's a boy or a girl. Like, I be on high alert. With my 3-year-old grandson, just make sure ain't nobody bother him, making sure ain't nobody mistreat him. And even with my granddaughter, she was I think she was going to go with a babysitter, and it just made me so nervous to even think that, and I was like, well, just because things happen to me doesn't mean it's going to happen to, my grandkids or whatever. But it makes me so nervous to this day. I just don't want nothing to happen to my kids or my grandkids. I just don't want them to experience that thing. I know I can't stop them from living life and things happening to
right.
them, but that's just like a huge fear of mine. I just don't want my kids to have to feel what I feel and what I
Right.
went through. Yeah.
Right. And that's huge of you. You're a very great mom and a very great wife. I'm glad to see that, you live just so they don't have to experience what
Yeah.
you have to. And a lot of times people say, well, that's your job. And it's like, no, my job is to be a parent. And, I
Mm-hmm.
know that is parenting, but it's not your fault. You had to go through what you went through the
Right.
things you went through. It was not
Right.
that was not your fight. Like, you shouldn't have had to go through those. So,
Right.
to have
Right.
those experiences. So I would ask, just in general, um, with you having experiences, with you being married, with you, having situations with your baby father, and then with what happened to you as a child, if you had to tell someone that may experience any of those situations, I know we kind of spoke on this already about how, finding your positive light.
Mm-hmm.
But if you had to, with you still trying to find that positive light and still going through that, what would you tell them will be there? What would be a resource that they can use? Like, what would you say the next step is? I know some people may say therapy. I know some people, may say, getting in church, getting closer to God. Like, what is a firm resource that you would give someone who may experience, those things?
Let's see. For me, for me, what changed everything around for me was when I started talking to someone that was really, really close to me. And she would pray over me, and she would tell me that, everything that I've been through is, is of the enemy, is of the enemy. And, she put it back in the pits of hell. And she was just like, you are not how you feel. You are better than this. You are more than this. She would always speak life over me. And to this day, like, I thank her for that, because that's like the turning point for me. And you just have to find, you a very positive influence, someone that's going to be there for you, someone that's not going to judge you, someone that's going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. So a lot of people, a lot of people do say go to a therapist or a counselor or a life coach, but find you someone that you can talk to. Because for me, talking about it was the breaking point for me. After, I told her that, and, she spoke life over me or whatever. Then I just started, okay, so this is what happened. This makes me feel this way. And find you some good coping skills. And that's good to go to a therapist or a counselor, life coach or whatever, so you can find coping skills to help you get through those times. Because just because you talk about it or you go to a counselor or therapist doesn't mean everything is going to go away. So you still have to find those coping skills to deal with, everyday life, because you're still going to be down one day and you have to get yourself back up. And I deal with that. I have to be in a routine. I have to do a routine, because if I don't be in routine, I find myself dwelling on stuff and get down. So that's another thing. Find you a good positive routine. I listen to affirmations on YouTube. I listen to motivational speakers. I listen to gospel music, but I love to go to sleep and listen to affirmations in my ear as I'm sleeping, so I can kind of change how I think. Because when you go through trauma, you view things negatively. You view a lot of things in a negative way. So you have to reprogram how you think, and don't let what you went through defeat you. You're more than that. You're better than that. And what you go through is not for you. It's for you to overcome it, so you can be a light for someone else. And so that's what I'm trying to be now.
Right. That's big. But what you said, affirmations, I think that's the biggest thing. I would say that for myself as well. And I do that for Aiden. I say those things
Mm-hmm.
to him, like, you're so smart, you're so
Mm-hmm.
handsome. Just asking him questions, talking to him, making him feel like he's somebody, because he is somebody. And I do
Yes,
that for
yes.
myself as well. I think affirmations, they're underrated. People say it like, oh, I think this, but are you saying it because you to believe it, or are you just
Yeah,
saying it to say it? Because you have to believe what you're saying. You have to
that's so
really
true.
make sure you believe that for yourself, because you go through so much trauma, you start to feel worthless. You start to feel like you're not
Mm-hmm.
worthy or certain things. You start to feel like, is this real? Like, you start to question the
Yeah,
good and the bad.
yes,
You'll go through things and you'll have those dark days where you have somebody good in your life, like say you have Jeremy, you may start to question him, like, and it's like, why are you doing it? But it's things that's why you have to want to get better. And I believe, like you said, those
that's
affirmations, that
that's the
that
first thing.
yep, acknowledging, being aware, and wanting to get better. And you said
Yeah.
something else about like listening to YouTube, listening to positive things. I have recently on my Instagram started to go through my page and unfollow things that are
Mm-hmm.
negative, people
Yeah,
that post negative things, like things that are, we think, in our generation, that are funny, but trying to, and I'm not saying I won't ever, repost them, or I won't look at them, and I'm gonna laugh at them, because
right,
I
right.
like having fun and certain things. I'm not saying that get rid of comedy or get rid of things that make you, but making sure you're balancing those things with positive things,
Right.
following people that you know have been through what you've been through, or
Right.
where they are in life, where you want to be, and seeing some positivity and being able to see like, man, if God did it for you, he can do it for me. Like I can
Yes,
do that.
yes.
Like,
Yep.
why can't I do that? You know, why can't I be who I want to be? Why can't I do what I want to do? Why can't
Right.
I, you know, get past this? So it is important to believe it first with those
Mm-hmm.
affirmations and then speak those things over yourself, speak those things over your life and start to follow positivity, do what makes you happy. And that's why I ran up on your post. I think that was your last video with your husband. And I was like, I really enjoyed that. That's why I
Yeah.
reached out to you. I remember, you know, you were like, we should collab. And I said, when I watched the video, you know, I went to Kimmy and was like, you know, Carol's really smart. And I was like, I really like their relationship. Like I was telling her, Anisha, I said, you know, we've been in contact, but you
Right.
know, as you've been on me since I was a little girl. And
Yes.
as an
Yeah.
adult, I don't think that we've had much of contact. I don't think that we've
Right.
been able to like talk. And I don't think so. When
Right.
I saw that, I thought that there was so much of you guys were so much of an inspiration because I can truly see I could truly see in Jeremy Jed. I could see like how soft he may be with you, like, you know, and
Mhm.
you could see
Yeah.
that through your relationship, how he just love you and how, you know, you love him and how, you know, you guys are patient with each other. And like you said, every
Mhm.
marriage has nobody is saying it's golden, but I'm
Right.
saying, you know, what we do see, we are, you know, it inspired me. And I've always thought if you could touch one, you've done your job. And I feel like you did your job there. And
Well, thank you. Thank
yes,
you.
and to know that you were able to get there even through
Yeah.
the because people who go through those things feel like they'll never get a husband or never get where
Yes.
they, you know, where they need
Yes.
to be.
Because you're just, I ain't gonna say, because kids are not mistakes, but relationships, you know, it's like failure after failure. And I was on my fourth child, and I was just like, okay, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed because I'm with my, you know, three baby daddies, you know, and it's just like I'm better than this, you know. And so it's just like, okay, God. And I prayed one night and I was just like, Lord, send me someone who loves me for me, and just send me someone who loves my children as his own. And I kid you not, because I think I was either pregnant with Amari or I just had her. But a year later, I was working at AG and I got fired from AG. And I was devastated. But it's like maybe a month or so later, I started working at this job called Kagome Creative Food. And that's where I met Jeremy. And it was just like we were like the best of friends. And then it's just like one thing led to another. And it's almost 13 years later, you know. So he loves my kid. You can't tell that my kids don't belong to him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing, you know. That's a whole nother subject. We're gonna have to get in on how to blend families.
Yes.
Oh, nother, because this ain't gonna be our last collab. So
It's not.
yeah,
It's not. I believe it.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
It's been good though. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, I think that's good. I think that those resources are good. That was the main thing that because like I said, this helped me. Like, you know, what we
Mm-hmm.
talked about, it not only does it help others, it helped me. So that's why I asked you you know, about those resources. Like what do you think, you know, people can do and what do you think that how they can be more aware of it? So like you said, those affirmations, YouTube videos, social media,
Oh,
church,
one more thing.
surrounding
One more
yourself.
thing. You
What?
cannot, you cannot continue to be the victim, because when you are the victim, you feel sorry for yourself. Not saying, you know, these things didn't happen to you, but you got to get strong. You got to get strong, because that's just something to break you. The enemy wants to break you. The enemy sees something good in you, so he throws these things at you to break you. So you have to realize, okay, I'm not a victim. I am a, what is it, victor? Is that how I go? And
Mm-hmm.
you have
Yep.
to begin to want to work on bettering yourself. You have to want it, because if you don't want it, it's not gonna happen. Period.
Yep.
And it's gonna linger on, and before you know it, years, 10 years gonna be past and you're still in the same spot. So you have to want to work. And that's my thing. And it's not like it's a, what is it? It's a marathon. So you have to keep at it. You can't just listen to affirmations on Monday and then 2 weeks later you listen to it again and then you're mad because it's not working. Like you have to work at it daily. And another thing that I do, I do a lot. I have to do a lot.
Keep it coming.
I have a board, and I write things on there. I write, like, my husband. I'm looking at, that's why I'm looking over there. But my husband writes on it, and he gives me good, good words, encouraging words. Tyra, my daughter, wrote on and gave me some good encouraging words, and I just wake up and I choose to be happy. And that was one thing that Jeremy wrote on my board, and he told me, babe, you have to choose to be happy. Like you can't continue to go through life upset and sad and down all the time. You have to choose to be happy. And that's where one of my videos came from, is from him. Because when he said that, it just, something just went off in my head, and it was just like, okay. So every morning when I wake up, I have to pray and I have to meditate on nothing but good. And I tell myself, I choose to be happy. And it's been working because I believe it. So yeah.
That's good. That was good. I knew you had some tips over there. I knew you had them in the bag. But that board is a good idea. That's a really good idea.
Yeah. And people think those things are corny, but I write little notes. I had to, because I'm trying to reprogram how I felt about myself or how I was thinking. And so those things really help. So you have to surround yourself with a lot of positive things. You have to, when you're in a negative headspace, you can't be watching negative stuff, things that just keep you down. Like you have to, inspire yourself. You have to look at, I'm just looking at like stuff in the room, but you have, like these, I have to, faith over fear. I love faith over, because though I was the person that was just afraid of everything, I was just so afraid of just to do anything. I just wanted to be in the background. I didn't want to be seen, like just leave me alone. But now God done pushed me out and he said, it's your time. So it's your time. So yeah, but
it is. You can, and sometimes he put us through those things to share your story. I love how you're not, I'm not saying that someone who doesn't share is selfish, but I love how you were able to share that. I know that's not easy. And I think a lot of times God, he uses us for other people. He uses he worked through people. And he's worked through people to get to you. He's worked through people to get to me. And now I feel like he's working through us to, get to other people. And it's therapeutic being able to share your story. Like it's therapeutic. What they say, God bless fools and babies. So it's a lot of times they say, when you done went through some things and he done put you through some things, you come out a warrior. And I think that that's important to know that and be able to share those things. And you touched on something where you said people would think certain things are corny and they don't want to do things like that. I do little nerdy things like that all the time, and I do not care, because what I was doing, it was not working. If you're doing something and it's not working, you find what works for you, and that's what works for me. I write on my blog, I write in my book. I have several books. I have this calendar. I write Bible verses on there to get me through the month. And you, like you said, it's a choice. Every day you wake up. I think right now waking up is an underrated blessing. It's a blessing for you to wake up and to keep fighting. And it's your choice every morning when you open your eyes. Are you gonna win or are you gonna lose? And I always believe God don't birth failures. But you're gonna have to choose to fight. He can't just pick you up and set you in the good spot. You have to work to get there. Look how hard it was for God. Like, what he had to, not you, but for real, you have to work. You have to work to get there. You're not going to wait. And I think that was me. I feel like I was allowed to be a victim for so long because I had a child with Down syndrome. So I feel like I don't want to say I took advantage of it, but I feel like it allowed me to soak a little longer than what I needed to. So
Mm-hmm.
years start to pass me by, and I started to see myself in the same space when I'm like, you're more than that. There are more important things about you. You're more worthy than what you've been through. You're more worthy
Right.
than your past relationship. You have to get up and you have to believe and you have to do the work. God wasn't gonna bless me with no man sitting up in the house or at
Right.
work. Like how my boyfriend say, he said, we met at my last job too, in
Mm-hmm.
Blue Cross. He said I used to walk with tunnel vision, like I wouldn't look at nobody. And I would because I'm like, like, nope, I don't want to do it. I'm not doing
Right.
so. Walking with tunnel vision is like, no, you walk in confidence. You walk,
Mm-hmm.
and be fierce in what you, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
not talking about beauty on the outside. I'm saying be fierce within the heart, be confident within yourself, and keep it
That's
pushing
what
because,
matters more.
yep,
Yeah.
the
Yep.
inside. Anybody, the outside can be pretty, but the inside ugly.
You ugly.
We got nowhere. You ugly.
Yes.
So you got to
Yes.
start. You got to
Yep.
start over. So
Yep.
I think that's important. But I do want to ask you. I know that we are coming to close. But I do want to ask you, did you have anything else, that you would like to share, on this topic, outside of this topic, anything with your Curls Daily Heart, which I love on YouTube. Is
Thank
there anything coming
you.
up? Any new topics we need to be looking forward to?
Yes, I do want to say that I'm going to start posting every Wednesday on my YouTube, Carol's Daily Heart. Y'all, please go subscribe. And it's been I don't want to speak that it's been kind of a struggle because when you keep your eyes on somebody else instead of on what God told you to do, you kind of get off track and you get discouraged. And when you seeing somebody kind of passing you and what you're trying to do, you kind of get discouraged. So you reaching out to me, you just don't know how much this means to me. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it really did something to me for someone, because I look, even though I'm older than you, I just look up to you. Just like you, Cammie, and Anisha, y'all are just like, I don't know. I just can't, y'all like little queens, little princesses. I don't know. It's just y'all. And so for you to even want to collab with me, this means so much to me. And I just want you to know that God put you in a position for you to be a leader in what you're doing. And while we was waiting to, get on this Zoom or whatever, I was reading your blog and it is amazing. Y'all
Thank
go.
you.
Yeah. Amazing. And don't stop what you're doing. Don't stop what you're doing. God put that on you for a reason. And God is using you. So, Aiden is a blessing. And he's using y'all to bring awareness. And you just keep going. Don't stop. Keep going because you got you something.
Yes, thank you. You too. You too. I told Cammie that I said I said if she's onto something, I said if she become, consistent with it and get the posting and collabing, I think, I know there's nothing but greatness in it for you. I haven't, as an adult, I hadn't been able to have many conversations, but when I watch a video, I was like, Carol, all right. Like
Okay.
I was like,
Thank
she's smart, she
you.
articulate, she's intelligent, like she all right. Not that I thought less of you, but when you
Yeah, I
don't
know.
know someone, or what,
Right.
What's in them, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, you were always quiet. And you were like you said, you
Okay.
were always quiet. You didn't bother nobody, you just quiet. So then I always say, you have the rest and be face. so, so
Okay. Yeah.
so some, but your Carol's Daily Heart, I feel like that's bringing you out, and it's
Yeah.
letting people see your personality a little bit more of, what's in there, really, literally your heart. So I thank you for those encouraging words you gave me, but I do want to tell you to keep pushing. I always say with the people that are above you, because I see other blogs, I see other things that, or people that I know that have started after me or have started around the time I
Mm-hmm.
did that are up here, they get a lot of viewers, they get it. So when I see that, it does sometimes get discouraging. But what I
Mm-hmm.
think about is if you can do it, I can do it. So I have
That's
to
right.
keep
That's
pulling
right.
what's for me and find my niche and where, where God has for me, so I can be able to push that out to people, because I always have been a believer of what's yours. It will, you will conquer
Right.
it. Like, you will succeed, you will win. So I would say keep pushing it. It will, if it reach one person, to me, it
Yeah.
reached somebody. You done your job for today, because you don't know how much that will impact the person. You don't know
Right.
how inspired I was by seeing your video. Like, I was like,
Mhm.
man, because I have been into to the point where I felt like I may not be able to get married. Like, man, like, ain't nobody gonna want to marry me with a special needs child, or nobody's gonna want to deal with me with that trauma
Mhm.
if I'm lashing out, if I'm doing this, if I'm doing that. And then also being afraid of having to really get with somebody and having to tell them all of the dark things. Like, I've had to do that,
Mhm.
because I felt like, my relationship has depended on me being able to open up and tell what I'm going through or what I've been through, so that it's like, okay, this is what's going on. So you guys inspired me to know that, hey, no, yes, there's somebody for you. Yes, there's your partner is out there. It may be work, but it happens. So I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Relationships are work. You have to work. You just can't, you know, just think all about me, and it's gonna go how I want. No, you have to put in the
Oh
work.
man, no, just like
Yeah. And there's someone, that's the thing, like God puts people together, and he knows what your partner can take, so God has someone for you who's going to love Aiden as their own and going to help you overcome any obstacle you have, and is going to understand everything you're going through, and it's going to be, that what's the word I'm looking for? Just that open arms that you need.
hmm
When you're going through something, you just want to just lay up under them and just give it all to them.
hmm
God gonna give God, and He probably already has given you that. Sounds like. Okay, so
we shall
give
see.
it invitation.
You will get one. You will get
Okay.
one. But this has been good. Hey, stop it. This has been good, Carol. We have to do this
Yes.
again in the future. Like, I know um there are many more topics we can talk about, but Wednesday night,
Yes.
Carol's Daily Heart, I can expect
Yes.
it. Am I expecting one tomorrow? Or is this the
Yeah.
one for tomorrow?
This could be the one. This could be the one. But I have one that's I already recorded or whatever.
Oh,
So,
okay. So
um,
I'll be looking for that.
yeah. But I don't know. This seems like this kind of good right here. So I don't
This
know.
was
But
good. This was good.
and I just want to say one more thing.
Yes, ma'am.
In everything you do, give it 120%. Now, I got that from, I think his name is Eric Thomas,
Hmm.
motivational speaker.
Mm.
And I've been realizing that I've been giving everything, because you always wonder, well, why this ain't happening, or why I ain't getting these many views? Because I've been giving 50%, 20%, 30%. I'm about to give 120%. So y'all look out for me, because
Yes. You better come with it. Because
I'm coming.
people love personality. They
Mm-hmm.
love relating, and you've
Mm-hmm.
been through some things that
Yeah.
people can relate to. So it's in there, Carol. It's all about, like you said, that 120%. Be
Yeah.
consistent. I don't
Yeah.
care if one person watch it. It's there, because it's gonna take that one video, that one,
Yeah.
and it's gonna take you where I don't. Sometimes I think of doing that as being therapeutic. I think of my blog as being therapeutic. Like, I look at it as fun. Like, I go
Mm-hmm.
in it for fun, and um just to get things off of my chest, to share, spread awareness. So I think of it as, I do it for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I do it for others, as
Mm-hmm.
far as to help others. And I feel like I can only go up from there. So I say, keep pushing it out, girl. Give it your all. Like you said,
Thank
120,
you.
that
Yeah.
120 is going to get you where you need to go. You just got to keep going. It's all about consistency, because if I'm seeing your name, I'm seeing your face, I'm seeing you, weekly. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, let me see what, I may need to check this out. But if I see it 1 week and then I don't see it for 2 more months, it's
That's
like
right.
it's not on the forefront of my mind. I'm needing to see your name so it can pull me toward. It's really just a numbers game. So
that's all.
I believe nothing but greatness for you.
And for you too. And tell everybody your blog again so they can.
Yes, it's Hello Mahood, HELLO, Ma Hood, HOOD.com. And it's basically Hello Motherhood, but because we call my mom Ma, I wanted to make it, make it personal, make it dear to me because she is really the reason that, I'm the mom I am today. She is an overly loving mom.
Yeah, she love y'all and them grandkids. She is,
She does. She
love
called
y'all.
me a million times a day, and it's like, I'm so thankful for her, but I can't dare give the credit to myself. Like, I've seen good things, so I want to, contribute something to her. Where I know we call her Ma, Ma, so I wanted to be able to give that to her. So
That's so sweet. Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll go ahead and go. I know it was good. We're gonna have to get back together and do this again, and we'll come up with some topics and collabs. But I do want to say to our viewers who will watch this, thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, you feel free to reach out to either one of us. We are here. We're open books, as you can see, and we just want to love and give. So
that's right.
All right, girl. We'll see you next time.
All right. Bye.
All right, bye.
Bye.